once your self-portrait is totally laid out and you've gone in and filled in and cleaned up any of your dark shapes, it's time to start carving. So I'm going to begin with my smallest carving tool, because what I tend to like to do is almost outline some of my shapes before I really scoop out large areas. So I'm going to keep in mind that everything I am scooping out is the white, and everything I'm keeping is my pencil or graphite, the black shapes. So even though I have a general base laid out here, I'm still going to continue to look at my reference photo for help, because I want to make sure I leave some of the speckles and details behind as well. I'm also not going to touch the background yet because I'm going to plan for that a little bit later. So I'm just going to focus on my head, and I'm going to attack the background in a little bit. So with my smallest carving tool, I'm going to, again and always, put my non-knife hand behind my knife hand. And it's really important and helpful that you just kind of rotate your linoleum block to make it more comfortable to cut. So there's no rules saying that it needs to be faced a certain direction. So I just want to make sure that I'm keeping the dark lines because I need those to ink and print. If I cut those out, I'm going to kind of lose my hair, and I'm just going to be kind of like a floating head without any hair on it. So I don't think I want that. So I'm just carefully rotating as I wiggle through here, and block out kind of my shapes, and later go in with a larger tool. And then I like to go back with the small tool later so that I can carve out the really little details as well. So I kind of flip between different knives often depending on what kind of area I am scooping out. So I'm going to continue to work around my shapes. This is helpful for me because I feel like when I do this, I'm less likely to accidentally cut into the shapes that I need to keep. I feel like when I skip this step, I sometimes accidentally cut into areas that I needed. So I want to try to avoid that at all costs, because once it's been removed, we can't get it back. So slow and steady wins the race for sure. Luckily, these blocks are a manageable size, so it's not too overwhelming, and they also cut very easily, so that is helpful as well. So I will continue to carefully scoop away and outline the big shapes as well as the little shapes. It's most important really that I don't miss the little shapes because they really help with a lot of the detail. So by that I mean, this little shadow on my neck, I want to make sure that I carefully carve around that. I don't want to accidentally scoop that out because that helps add detail to my portrait. Same with my button down here. I know it's a little bit hard to see. You can see it in my picture here. I have a button, so I would carefully scoop out the white of that button and scoop around it as well. So I'll continue to do this. Once these are finished, I will start scooping out larger chunks when I change my tip size. Once I've gone ahead and outlined everything in my fine point carving tool, I'm gonna go ahead and switch it out for a wider, broader tool to scoop with, and I'm going to begin to remove the larger areas of white. I'm only gonna use the big tool for big areas, so it's important to be careful and to switch your end or your tip when you need to. So I'm going to go ahead and start scooping out the white of my shirt, and I'm going to still leave my background there because I'm going to go ahead and do that later, but I'll carefully line the edge of my cutter up with those areas that I scooped out. I kind of outlined it, and I will remove the large areas of white and then switch back to my small tip to do more details in my hair and in my shirt and in my eyebrows and eyes as well. After I've carved out the large areas of white for my linoleum print, I'm going to switch back to the small fine tip carving tool and start to add details and finer lines. So I might begin with areas like my hair, because in my photo you can see a lot of small lines here between the black and white shapes. So I would carefully start to carve those. They won't be as deep as my other lines and my other shapes. So I can have a little bit of a lighter touch, and I can go in and kind of soften my hairline here by carving into it a little bit, giving it almost like a feathered look. You can see the same down here at the bottom, this dark shadow shape. I'm going to kind of come in from the top of it and carve down, kind of curving with the shape of how my hair is laying on my shoulder. So a gentle little curve in. And I would continue to go back, referencing my photo and looking at these smaller detailed areas and carefully carving those out. So I want to make sure that I'm really taking my time during this portion of the carving, because this is where all of my details and my fine areas are going to shine and really make it look more like a face and details of the face rather than just large shapes.